So what do we have here? We have HOLTERGEIST Drums 1. I should do a bit of a intro at some point. I think what I want to do on this bit right now is just make sure that this recording is working and that we're grabbing clean audio. Let me do that and just play through a few of these sounds and capture that as a bit of a walkthrough. Again, I'm experimenting a little bit. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. One thing to note, however, is I've got a couple different ways that these samples are organized. There's a few here like these kick code red here, labeled 1 soft, 2 medium, 3 hard. I've got a few sets of sounds that are labeled with these kind of dynamic layers. And then there's a few that are labeled with RR 1, 2, 3, or even I believe I've got a few sounds that have 4 or 5 round robins. These are more equivalent velocities that are just meant to kind of multi-sample so you don't get that kind of machine gun feel if you're using a sample playback device or a triggering piece of software that can handle multiple samples. That's what those are for. So there's a couple different ways these are organized. There's also a few that are AB and ABC. Those are kind of variations on a sound as opposed to dynamic levels or round robin designations. Sometimes I've got descriptors here like mids, this douche, mids, subs A, subs B, and tighter. Hopefully somewhat self-explanatory when you dig into this. Let's start down here with trucker. We got trucker, we've got thub, we've got subtle wide, 3 round robins of that, roomish punch, retro, might be my favorite natural kick I've made here, some rock stuff, some hyper process stuff, including some weird pitch ditching, overtones. Again, I'm not playing you all the round robins because they're just multiple hits of the same sound, same processing. MBAing, natural, narrow, Metallica, huge softy. Let me find one with, well, here's some chest punch room, explosion. A lot of round robins here. Here's a couple of variations like distant A on this douche, distant C, subs A. And then here's some dynamic ones like these code red options here. There's a close and a room. I'll play all 3 dynamic levels. We'll start with soft. And then the same kick with the room mics. That's a little overview of the kick sounds. Here's some snares. We got a whole bunch of, I think, really unique and fun snares. These are all acoustic drums, all recorded coincidentally, all through Neve preamps at 3 different studios. I recorded these over the last few years. It's been a few years because one of these studios is, I don't believe, even in operation anymore. There was a place in Pasadena called the Firehouse or Firehouse Studios, something like that. The drums labeled FH, I recorded at Firehouse. LB is London Bridge, where I'm located here. I did these downstairs in Studio A. And then SX is Studio X here in Seattle. Again, same designations apply here where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, soft, medium, hard, max. And then some of them have RR designations, round robins 1 through 5, 1 through 6, etc. And then the same snare with the room. We got some close mics, round robins. A little variation in the overtones there, which I love, especially when you're doing drum programming. I'll get into how I use these samples in a bit, but I just wanted to play through a few of the sounds just to give you guys a little taste of what they sound like. Some room sounds. Got that. Room. Stash. That's the Firehouse set here. Moving to London Bridge, here's some dry 80s style snares that we made. These are some round robins first up here. We've got like some room mic versions of those. And Exploder soft. Number 4, round robins. along with some overheads, ambiances, snare basic, snare blender, dark sus, deeper close, garage, garage dry. There's some really nasty stuff in here. These are moving into the Studio X set here. Some real nasty processing that I was experimenting with on this session. Real nasty, obviously. But this is the new Studio X, not the previous location, which I did not have the pleasure of working at. But this is a bit of a, I believe it's an old church that's been converted. So the sanctuary is filled with pews, and it's kind of a diffused, warm sound. There's a lot of warm wood surfaces, but it's still diffused. It's a pretty unique reverb signature, I think. Longboard. Naturleak, Sanctuary, round robins again, shot wide, round robins, thick, trash high, trash, whole bunch of snares, some toms, soft, medium, hard, here at London Bridge, and then I did some round robin stuff at Studio X. Here's, we got 2 toms each in each room. And then the room version of that. Tom 2. And then pretty different vibe in the Studio X room. Close mics. Round robin approach. Longer trail. A little thicker processing. Wider processing. And then Tom 2. You get the idea. Miscellaneous. So you just got a couple unique things that happen on these sessions here. There's some flams from Firehouse with that cool room. Every once in a while in my sample packs, I've got things that are not edited tight to the transient, and I always include the loose designation in front of the description of what it is. I use these in programming drum parts, especially in using acoustic sounds with more electronic approach to music production, where sometimes the little, like the swoosh into a sound is just as interesting as the actual transient. And obviously that would mess up drum triggering. So I always designate them with loose, just to let you know there's some extra audio ahead of the transient. That's what these are here. So there's a little walk up into that transient. And then there's the same thing here with these kicks, where there's a little squeak before the transient of the kick drum. Subtle, but I think they're really fun, really useful. Cross sticks, some nice cross sticks and room equivalents. Then we've got a set of hi-hats, just one to kind of make the pack. You can use just the sounds in the pack to make a drum part, but this is by no means a comprehensive cymbal collection. There's a pair of hi-hats that we did here at London Bridge, 4 round robins closed and 4 round robins in the room mics. There's some tonal stuff, the kick processing that got a little, it doesn't read quite like a straight kick to me, so I put it in this miscellaneous category. I got a thing called woofer blow. You might want to watch your ears or your speakers for this one. Let's cross our fingers and see what happens here. And then there's some breakdowns, rough stops. Just some random noises that I thought would be interesting. And then one lonely crash, because I needed it for a project we were working on. Again, there's plenty of cymbal crash samples everywhere. I just wanted to include one in case you are making a track with just this set. There's a crash cymbal here for you. And that just about wraps up the HOLTERGEIST sample pack for drums. Variety grab bag of sounds that I've made. These are all original sounds that I've processed following sessions that I've done in these various rooms. These are just focused on drum sounds that I use to layer with other drum sounds that I might record on other sessions. So a lot of these are meant to add this color to drums that might be recorded with a different player, a different room. Oftentimes I'll use these behind the main drum sound that I've recorded on another record, just to add a bit of this color. Sometimes using just the sample to drive reverb sends, just to kind of glue everything together. Sometimes program a full track with these. I used some of these in some of the Holtergeist songs that I've got coming up. So a variety of approaches, just some, I thought, interesting drum sounds that maybe you folks would find useful. So there you go. I will talk to you again later. See ya.